Hi, this is Dave Kline for Pretzel City Productions, LLC, WEEU Radio, and Reading Eagle Company. We are here to talk about the Reading 120, a professional cycling race, and with us is race director John Eustice. John, we are in Reading's historic City Park. Now, I'm just going to say something briefly, and then I'm going to let you take the people through the course, through your mind's eye, the race director's mind's eye. In the late 1800s, way before there was this thing known as the Tour de France, there was professional bicycle racing right here on these grounds, the grounds that we're standing right now. There was a 1/2 mile velodrome. It was built by the Penn Wheelmen. They drew thousands of people.
Velodrome, you mean the bank tracks?
There was actually a bank track. It looked like a racetrack for cars, only we hadn't gotten that far yet in the country's history. They were racing bicycles on this track. And they drew thousands of people, including competitors who would come over on ships from Europe to race right here in City Park. How wonderful is it that this is the start, finish, and the heartbeat zone, the hub zone for the Reading 120 this year in 2016. Take us through this and then tell us what happens out on the course and up on the mountain, and what do the cyclists have to endure?
Well, it is a magnificent race. Again, referring to what you spoke about, it's the United States that actually invented great bicycle racing, professional bicycle racing. It was back in that era. I know it seems like a long time ago, but 1880 through 1930, it was the richest sport in the world. People don't realize that. I mean, they were making $200,000 a year in 1920 dollars, wow. The bike riders. I mean, they really, it was big, it was huge. And don't forget, the Wright brothers were bicycle mechanics. Dodge, the keystone of General Motors, was a bicycle mechanic. Champion Spark Plugs was a bicycle mechanic. Bicycle racing was this engine, if you will, of great creativity. And it was glamorous, it was fast, it was speed, that's what it was. So to come back here and more of a European-style race, Americanized European-style race, if you will, which I'll explain right now. So basically the race starts here in City Park at 9:30 on September the 10th, goes out all the way through Mount Penn, down Carsonia through Lower Alsace, makes its way through Alsace to Oley, winds through Oley Town Center beautifully, up Water Street, and then all the way up the back way around Kutztown. It'll go through Kutztown and wind its way back on the west side of the way it came up. So it's sort of this long, narrow loop, if you will, ending up in Alsace, back down Carsonia, back down through here, and then climbing the mountain, heading back for a second lap up to Kutztown, and coming back here, which will be 90 miles, then another hour of racing on a circuit within here, three more times up Mount Penn. So it's very spectator-friendly. If you're here in City Park or in Lower Alsace, Mount Penn, you'll see the riders 6 times, I believe, which is a lot. For Tour de France, you see them once. They go by. That's it. Right. And here, you see them 6 times. You're going to see the real drama of road racing with this 4 total climbs up Mount Penn, but also climbs out in the countryside. There's something called Ruth Road. There's something called, is it Butter Road? Not Butter Road. My goodness.
Lane?
It'll come to me. Basket Road. Basket Road.
That's a challenge.
So you have 2. So it's 1, 2, 6, 7 hard climbs. So it'll be a very tough race. The caravan, the whole thing. Oley, if you want to hang out in Oley, we'll see the race 4 times because they'll come through Oley on the way up, on the way back. Kutztown 2 times. So there are lots of places around this race course, Dave, for people to move around, to watch the race from different vantage points, and really see, be able to look in the eyes like we're looking at the riders suffering up Mount Penn and reaching for everything they have in their hearts and souls to try and win this race.
Yeah, so we've had this new slogan we've adopted this year for the Reading 120. It's get your woo on, as in woohoo. And on this course, this couldn't be a more spectator-friendly course because you can go on the historic turns of Duryea. I counted from the time they come in City Park and switch back and take turns up to the pagoda and then on to the William Penn Memorial Fire Tower. There's at least 15 turns or switchbacks along the way from the very bottom, where they come up from the city of Reading, up through the city park, behind the bandshell. They have to do additional climbs back there before they even get to the bandshell, and then on up. I mean, this to me seems like the kind of challenge that only the strongest will survive in the end to get to the king of the mountain points.
Well, you have to realize this is the longest. It's at the legal limit for a professional bicycle race. It's 200 kilometers, 125 miles. That's long. That's an hour more racing than normally. Maybe 2 more hours than most of the Americans are used to. And it's also the hardest. It's the longest, hardest race in America, single-day race. People need to realize this. This thing's like the end of the season. It's the chance to show You know, there are no mistakes in this race. Like, if there's a flat race, all sorts of people can win. A race like this, only a champion can win. Only.
So, in measuring the distance from the point we enter City Park, where the cyclists will be coming into City Park, behind the bandshell, coming up to the bandshell, then up to the pagoda, I clock it in at 3 miles. That's without the rest of the course.
Right.
Without the rest of the course. Right. And Basket Road and all those other places you mentioned, and all the other mileage, that's 3 miles of climbing each of those 4 laps. That's 12 miles of climbing. Right?
There's more than 10,000, I think it's almost 12,000 feet of total climbing in this race. It's a lot. It's a hard race. Super hard race. And there's a famous climb in Europe called Alpe d'Huez, famous Tour de France climbs, 21 hairpin turns. But if you add up all the times up Mount Penn and add up the amount of hairpin turns, there are many more hairpin turns than even on Alpe d'Huez, which is the most famous climb in the world. So this race, it's only in its second year. It's brand new. It's a baby. It's just starting. It's just crawling for what it can be. But if the community stays with it, if the sponsors stay with it, if the city stays with it, the cycling world will stay with it, you can have very easily the greatest single-day race in North America.
So for the rider and team that win not only the race within the race, the King of the Mountain points and that honor and distinction, but also the overall Reading 120 first place position, this is no small feat. This is something you would definitely put in your team portfolio as saying, hey, this is what we achieved.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll give you a story. Derek Bouchard Hall is the president of USA Cycling and the CEO. He was an Olympian, I believe he was an Olympian, but he certainly was a world championship rider on the velodrome. Great educated, Princeton-educated guy. And his brother also raced. And his brother got second at the Univest, which is the previous iteration of this. And Derek says, for my brother, it was a highlight of his athletic career, getting second at that race. And every rider who's on the start line feels this way. There are only 7 races in the United States with this level of international sanction. Tour California, Tour Utah, Philadelphia, the Maniac Wall Race, this many tournament, Reading, 2 more maybe. That's it. 2, 3 more. So you're one of 7 races in the United States that have this international sanction, and that makes it really valuable. What's more, this is the largest Pro-Am. I'm big on Pro-Am. I like Pro-Am. I like the amateurs that come out of nowhere you never heard of. That's what this race is all about. It's the biggest Pro-Am race in the country. It's the longest, the hardest, and the biggest Pro-Am race in the country. It's good. It's a very good start for only 2 years old.
So September 10th, professional Pro-Am racing, as you said, a combination of the best of both worlds, returns to Reading's historic City Park after decades and decades of absence. This couldn't be more exciting. John, I know you've put a great race course together. We'll look forward to seeing the competitors compete on it and then see what they think after the race on September 10th.
We'll see how much energy they have left to talk. Maybe the next day they'll tell you.
Cheers.